Hi, Charles. How are you?
Hey, Yvonne, how's it going?
Going phenomenal. How you doing?
I'm all right. So your stand-up special was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I think you did it in such a fascinating way. Um,
Yeah.
Insecure, the final season, I think, did you just host the Ellen DeGeneres show and the International Emmys? Like yesterday, like did this just happen? And Yearly Departed kind of puts a big bow around all of it. How do you
Thank
feel
you.
about this? How do you feel about this year?
It has been good to me. It's been a mixed bag in some respects, but overarching, the year has been good. And while I'm ready for a new year in terms of like what 2020 has to offer, I ain't too mad at 2021. It wasn't all the way horrible. But I am ready for the pandemic to be done. And I think, I was like, if that ends in 2022, let's hurry up and get there, because we need to just live in a world again where it's like we don't have to worry about like, oh my God, am I going to catch a deadly disease? So that's what I'm looking forward to that.
I like that this special is female-led, top-down, female only in the audience as well, too. How do you feel about that?
It was great. Like that's what attracted me to the project. I remember seeing last year and I was like, oh, this is a dope concept. And then this year when they asked me to host, I got to know a little bit more about what happens behind the scenes. A female director, all female comedic performers, female writers, female producers. I was like, well, can't stop, won't stop. Like we can do it all, apparently. And it's also that thing of like when people are like, oh, are there any really good female directors? Are there any really good female comics? And it's like, watch the last 2 seasons. Pick one. We're all in the space. So you don't have to, try and rack your brain. Like, can they do it? They just did. They just did it. They just did it.
I didn't mean to slight you as well. Your book as well, too. You really just seem to be hitting on all those levels. What do you think it was, for you? What do you think it was that everything kind of came together at this time in this year?
Kismet, Jesus, God, I don't know, setting everything in motion, and then because I thought my book was going to come out last year, and I was really pushing for it. I didn't know there was a global pandemic approaching, and so sometimes the things you want to happen don't happen for a reason, and then you see it, and you're like, oh well, I'm glad that did not happen. So I think timing is everything. I think fate. I think just destiny, how it all plays out. Like you can have all the ingredients, but the soup gonna be made how it's gonna be made.
So I think that this really feels like it's something that I really enjoyed, but I was just sort of like transfixed. You're hosting, the performance, everything kind of worked together so well. I'm very curious, as a viewer, what's something that you've found to be the same, or as a reader, or something that you've come across where you've just felt like you were transfixed to it?
Oh man, it just in terms of like all year or with the special?
Yeah. I mean, you're for Yearly Departed. How about this just for this year?
Something that was this year. I think last year brought a lot of change, and I think the conversations, even about race, the conversations about small businesses, the conversations about how we show up for one another as humans. It was very evident that there were a lot of fractures in a lot of those systems. And, this year we see the shift, but we still also know we have a long way to go. And so it's just like very interesting, just the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, which is the other day. And you're just like, wow, like even when all the evidence is there, there's still confusion as to, what happened, what's right, what's wrong. And it's just, I think it just brings to the forefront how far we have to go, like as a country, as people, as humans. So I think the conversation is great that they're starting, but like 2022, we need to keep them really going, and we really need to show up with the way we say that we're going to show up and do the things that we said we were going to do collectively.
I just want to say that I think that's amazing that, your comedy is incredibly funny, but you touch on serious issues as well, too, and find the balance. And I think that's so important. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your compliments, Charles. You're wonderful.